Greetings to my gentle viewing audience. It's your man Shane Black, and I'm back, this time with Strong Black Woman Part 2. King Khiara versus Senator Cornyn. Let's just go right into the video, and then I'll hit you up afterwards.
Senator Cornyn. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor Bridges, you, in your testimony, talked about the prevalence of abortion, the percentage of black babies that are aborted as opposed to non-black babies. I think you said 3 or 4 times more black babies than non-black babies are aborted. You also talk about systemic racism. Do you see any systemic racism associated with the prevalence of abortion for black babies as opposed to non-black babies?
Absolutely. The higher rates of unintended pregnancy that lead to higher abortion rates among black people is a result of structural racism, systemic racism. I understand systemic racism not to be boogeymen who are trying to dupe black people into abortion care. I understand structural racism to be the systems that have made it so that black people disproportionately bear the burdens of poverty in this country, the systems that have denied them the basics that they need in order to live humane lives like food, clothing, shelter, health care.
So you believe
that responds with the criminal legal system.
You believe there ought to be more black babies aborted, is that right?
I believe that we ought to create the conditions under which people can lead lives that are filled with dignity and humanity.
And
that
to
means being able
your way of thinking, that happens when more black babies are aborted.
I believe, I love black people with the capacity for pregnancy. I think they have agency, they have intelligence, they know what is best for themselves, and I would love to create the conditions under which they can live lives that are filled with dignity and humanity.
And do you think a baby that is delivered alive has value?
Yes.
Do you think that a baby that is not yet born has value?
I believe that a person with a capacity for pregnancy has value. They have intelligence. They have agency. They have
I'm talking
dignity.
about the baby.
And I'm talking about the person with the capacity for pregnancy.
You're not answering the question. I'm asking.
I'm answering a more interesting question to me.
Do you think that a baby that is not yet born, let's say the day before his mother delivers, do you think that baby has value?
I think that the person with the capacity for pregnancy has value, and they should have the ability to control what happens to their lives.
Well, and I just note you refuse to answer the question. Ms. Harrell, the Declaration of Independence talks about certain unalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When do you think that unalienable right to life attaches?
Thank you. Yes, life is a human right. And when I answered Senator Booker's question earlier, that I think our laws should protect all human life, I think I was focusing on the hard part, and I didn't mean to suggest that it's a matter of congressional authority to enact the law that you described. But I do think that the American people understand that you have no rights if you don't have the right to life. That is a principle that our nation was founded upon, and every human being from its earliest existence has its own DNA and has a future. If we don't extinguish it, has a future. And that is a human right. It is the values and mores, as Senator Cruz was speaking of, that goes back to the founding of our nation, even at common law, and all the way up until 1973, when those life-affirming laws in 46 states were turned on their heads by the Supreme Court. So I believe that's what the American people believe. Life is a human right.
Governor Stratton.
Shit. Second round KO, if you ask me. And I'm saying that as if Senator Cornyn was Clubber Lang in Rocky 3. And guess who gets to be Rocky? That's right, King Khiara. Talking about 3 to 4 times, and according to her, 3 to 4 times more black babies than white babies are aborted. And that's why he's asking that question. Says, well, once again, the overturning Roe versus Wade doesn't ban shit. It all goes back to the states. And so if your state, like Ohio, I believe Ohio bans abortions after 6 weeks unless it's medically necessary. Personally, I think that's some fucked up shit because, hell, after 6 weeks, shit, you don't even know that you missed your period after 6 weeks. I don't know too much about that because I'm not trans, LGBT, non-binary, nothing. So all I know is that shit's supposed to come about once a month, and sometimes you might miss it, and then you be like, oh, well, shit, whoops. Or if you too high or drunk, you might not even realize you missed that shit. I don't know. I'm not a woman. And then the next time it comes, you're like, oh, hell, it didn't come this time, and actually it didn't come last time. Now it's been 8 weeks, and you're fucked. That's what happens in Ohio. And it'd be nice if they, change them dates or something like that, because I'm just sorry. But let's get back to King Khiara. Now, she says that higher rates of unintended pregnancies among blacks is because of structural and systemic racism. Here, hold on, let me refresh my electrolytes. With vitamins BRANDY. So, the reason all of these black women are getting pregnant is because racism forces them to have sex. The white man forces black women to have unprotected sex. I don't know how y'all white people do that shit. I mean, I need to get into that class because that's some powerful shit y'all got right there. I mean, is it voodoo? Is it subliminal messages in black television programming? How do you white supremacists get them black females to have unprotected sex? Structural racism, according to King Khiara, has made it so that blacks disproportionately bear the burdens of poverty. Okay, we'll just take that at face value. She went on and said some shit like, well, actually, no. I'm going to go right now. If systemic racism makes it so that blacks disproportionately bear the burdens of poverty, what the fuck does that have to do with them getting pregnant? And then talking about unintended pregnancies. Okay, maybe she's saying, all right, because black folks is broke, they can't afford no condom. They can't afford contraception. Shit, you could just go down, I think Planned Parenthood or something gives out free condoms. So being broke has nothing to do with your ass having an unintended pregnancy. I don't know about free contraceptive devices, but you get rubbers all day. Secondly, I guess since they are bearing the burden of poverty, that means that they don't have jobs. Because poverty, you're broke. You don't have a job. So, since the white man is keeping the black people from having jobs, then there's nothing else for a motherfucker to do than to go around and have unprotected sex. That's right. Because if you live in poverty, because you don't have a job, oh, and don't forget, what's her name? Kamala Harris said that, well, yeah, because the poor people and they need access to high-speed internet and shit. So that means you can't look for a job because you don't have high-speed internet. And, of course, you live in the ghetto, so there ain't no businesses down there, so you can't walk somewhere and find a job by asking somebody, are you looking for an employee? And, of course, don't forget, because of poverty, you can't ride the bus to go downtown to ask them if they have jobs. So, because of all of those systemically racist and structurally racist systems, you have nothing to do but sit at home. And you're sitting there, she's sitting there, or you go to her house and y'all both sit, you're sitting there. Look, hey, I don't have a job, you don't have a job. Let's just have sex. That's as stupid as that sounds. That's as stupid as King Khiara is. That's some bullshit. And I'm going to wrap this up because I talked mostly about her black ass last night. But I love Senator Cornyn, for doing this because Senator Hawley failed to do it. Senator Cornyn pointed out to her, hold on. Well, ma'am, you're not answering the question that I asked. And because King Khiara is a strong black woman, she responded, I am answering a more interesting question to me. That is why black men can't stand you so-called strong black women. Motherfucker can't talk to you. Motherfucker can't have a discussion with you. Because when the motherfucker... Hold on, I'm parched. Because when a motherfucker comes to you and points out some shit where you don't want to answer the question, or you realize that the answer to the question is going to be, well, yeah, you're right, I fucked up. Well, yeah, I'm wrong. Or, yeah, the position I took earlier has actually been destroyed by your strong masculine argument. Instead, they try to answer a question that you didn't even fucking ask. Pardon me, let me go off the rails for a minute. I don't give a fuck what question is more interesting to you, bitch. I asked you what time it is. I asked you what fucking time it is. I don't want you to tell me anything but what time it is. If you want to tell me something else, shut the